From the Sheba Bar in the Maidan Hotel, I'm Joe Christopher on behalf of AmWestEntertainment.com and AmWager.com. And of course, I am joined by Captain Incomparable, the ever magnetic in Dubai, even doubly so, Pat Cummings. And Pat, you are in your natural habitat. This is the Dubai World Cup preview, and it's going to be a fantastic night from start to finish.
Joe, it's just the fields are drawn, the post positions are known, the morning line is out, the free pass performances are there. The race course is directly behind us. We're ready. Maidan is getting ready. It's going to be a phenomenal day, night, overnight, depending on where you're watching this from. It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Well, Pat has mentioned during the course of the videos we've been doing over a couple of different carnivals now that coming to Dubai and experiencing it for yourself is something that everyone should try to do, particularly if you're a racing fan. And I can now attest to that, Pat, because it's been a great week so far. The best is yet to come. Really looking forward to Saturday night, not only for the experience, but obviously for the racing. We've got $27 million in combined purses. We've got the $10 million Dubai World Cup. We've got horses coming from, I believe, 13 different countries, if I don't stand corrected there, and it's going to be a star-studded night, but there are also some price shots to sink our teeth into as well.
Yeah, and there's a ton of information that's available to players, not just in this video, Joe. We're talking about the Trackist data on the AmWest site, on the Dubai Racing Club site, free pass performances. We've got the analysis and selections, which will be available at AmWestEntertainment.com, on DubaiRaceNight.com, live video, and we even have a live chat.
Yeah, it's going to be sensational. Our live chat will be on AmWestEntertainment.com. You're going to need to go to the page where it says live chat, which would obviously make sense. Open two windows so you can get the video and the live chat. It's going to start at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time. You can share opinions with horse players worldwide, Pat, and it's a great forum for people to talk about the races and perhaps increase their opinions and share ideas with other horse players.
Yeah, and we have a lot of duties as well, Joe, so our participation a lot of times will also get dropped in through Twitter as well.
Right.
So we've linked Twitter into that, so you'll be able to really follow along with that. It'll be phenomenal.
All right, Pat, without further ado, let's jump into the action. $1 million race, thoroughbred-wise, to kick things off. It's numbered as race number 2, the Godolphin Mile, sponsored by Maidan Sobha, and we've got a star-studded field here, but there are a couple of horses that stand out a little bit, at least morning line-wise. The favorite is the filly Sharuk. She beat the boys twice at the carnival. You've got Variety Club, who had the unbeaten streak snapped by Sharuk last time out, and then, of course, you have Soft Falling Rain, who has a prep coming into this race. He's a defending champ.
Yeah, and he was not going to be 100% for that last run. Don't forget, he was also drawn in the car park. He was drawn 14 there for that run. That was a Mahabal Shabal, not under his best distance, Joe, at 1,200, now back to 1,600. And he, as Mike Dukakis said, has just turned the corner. Last year, he won this race drawn 13, so I think he gets a much better setup here. Sharuk's a horse, of course. There's just no argument about that. She loves the Tapeta. She loves 1,600. But she tracked down Variety Club last time, and Variety Club may have, quote-unquote, bounced a little bit off of that massive effort in the fire break. There's no argument there. But I just feel like she's been drawn into these races, drawn into the Maktoum Challenge. She got drawn into the pace of the fire break with Variety Club up there. And if you're going to draw someone into it, you could very easily also draw Soft Falling Rain into it this time. At the end of the day, I think Soft Falling Rain is a better horse than Sharuk. And that's why I've gone with Soft Falling Rain to win the Godolphin.
Yeah, I'm with you here, Pat. I just think that the prep race sets him up perfectly for the added distance of the mile here. And like you said, he should fire a huge shot. Sharuk is definitely relentless on an all-weather surface, and it's tough to poke holes in her. It'll be an interesting addition. If I were to throw a long shot in there, maybe Alaval, who you know I'm not a huge fan of necessarily against top competition going 1.25 miles, but cutting back to a mile may finish with some strength.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to do with every race, Joe, is to put just a price play out there just in case. For me in that race, it's a Lamario, number 16, who ran very well in the Maktoum Challenge first up. He is really going to be ignored on the tote, and certainly in the UK books as well, where he is ignored right now as one of the longer prices. Lamario, granted a bad draw, but to run a good placing, I think he could.
All right, let's double the distance in race number 3 to 2 miles. It's a Dubai Gold Cup sponsored by Elatur Motors. And Pat, the morning line favorite in here, and pretty much a standout, at least to me on paper, the number 7 Cavalryman. An impressive victory in the Nad Al Sheba Trophy last out, just won with something in reserve that day. He's going to be probably a relatively short price in here. What do you think of Cavalryman and the chances of others to beat him?
You know, he wins his local debut this season by more than 5 lengths. Star Empire decided to come across to the stand side rail, as Christoph Sumian is sometimes inclined to do, and stayed on enough for second to be beaten 5 lengths despite making that move in the stretch. I really like Cavalryman. Won this race last year by 3 lengths coming off of a prep in the City of Gold. He got a prep over a more appropriate distance for him. To me, he is the horse. I've gone so far as to make him the Amwager best bet of the day. I think he is the likeliest winner of the day. There are some questions about some other low-priced horses, some short horses later in the card, in the sense that some of the competition is a little bit better. In this race, on this track, on this day, I think Cavalryman is the closest thing to a sure thing. I think a lot of people are going to see a big field. They're going to see horses who've run over this distance before. Cavalryman is so consistent in Dubai. I've got with him.
Yeah, I've echoed those sentiments as well. I think he's a standout in this field. Maybe some gimmick horses to round it out. Joshua Tree back on turf, second off the break here. And Seismos, the German campaigned horse and Irish bred horse, I think has some upside.
Yeah, he ran in this race last year, but it was first up. He's had a prep back in Germany, granted over weak company, etc. But I think just the leg stretcher does perhaps bring him into this race a little bit more. If there's a long shot, if someone gets overturned, or if Cavalryman, pops a fever in the saddling paddock, maybe Seismos.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. $2 million the purse, mile and 3/16 the distance, and the way the Americans rate their races as far as ground goes. The UAE Derby, sponsored by Saeed and Mohammed Al
Nabuda
Group. And Pat, this is a competitive race, so to speak, but there are two that are mostly the choices of the punters that we would preview or that we would poll. Giovanni Baldini, who's actually nominated to the American Triple Crown, 5-2 morning line favorite. Long John, one of the 3 4-year-olds in this race. Close second choice at odds of 3-1 for Charlie Appleby and Godolphin. Splitting hairs.
I think potentially, Joe. Look, Long John, the best local here. He's an older horse, too. He's a Southern Hemisphere 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. He is a classic winner in Australia in the Caulfield Guineas. But the statistic of the meeting, and you have to take this into account, is that over the last year in Dubai, over this season here, trainer Charlie Appleby, 6 from 39 first up. All subsequent runners, his horses are combined 0 from 26. The closest he's come is second. Fugue in the Maidon Sprint was a close second, but Shea held him off. If he had won, he'd be 1 from 26. So I can't explain it. That's 2 years in a row that horses that are stabled out there have that statistic. To me, Giovanni Baldini is a legitimate World Cup chance, or excuse me, a legitimate Kentucky Derby chance. I backed him at 100-1 in Las Vegas. I thought he could be winning this race for months. He ran incredibly well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. He was a horse who probably went too soon after Bobby's Kitten in the Juvenile Turf. That Outstrip came and run him down on the final furlong. And what does Bobby's Kitten come back to do? A winner at Tampa Bay Downs, and pretty impressively too. Mm-hmm. I think we might see him in the Bluegrass in 2 weeks, when you and I are probably back in Kentucky and not here overlooking Maidon. So I can't wait for that. But in the meantime, Giovanni Baldini for me is the horse. I'm going to throw out though Cuptado.
Yes, that's my long shot too.
Yeah, Doug Watson's horse. He's been very positive that he's turned the corner since he's had him. And here's the thing: this is a horse who's already run 1.5 miles. Mm-hmm. In the third in the Carlos Pellegrini. It is the best race in South America, the Carlos Pellegrini, or at least in Argentina. And he did it against older horses, and he was a closing third. Could he shock? Maybe. I give Aidan O'Brien the shot here to make it 3 consecutive UAE Derbies.
I respect the stat that you gave on Charlie Appleby. Obviously, Long John raced in the 2000 Guineas on February 13th, did not race after that. This is second up. That's the statistic you mentioned, but visually impressive. I mean, this horse won so easily. Like you mentioned, a Southern Hemisphere 3-year-old, I think, does have the maturity advantage over Giovanni Baldini. I think those two can go either way. I agree with you on Cuptado. Asmar broke his maiden in a stake. Maybe he has some upside. He's one other horse to watch.
Yeah, he's beaten up on the local company. I don't think that there's much to say about it. I think we will see him later in the year on turf in Europe, maybe even the U.S. Asmar. This, to me, though, it's Ireland again.
All right, a straight 5 furlong grass race, the Alquaz Sprint, and powered by iPick. That goes off, as I mentioned, as the 5th race, $1 million purse. And the odds of him drawing the 12 post are 12 to 1. Shay, he loves the outside.
Yeah.
Christoph Sumian obviously tries to get there no matter what post he's drawn in. Now he doesn't have to do any work to get there, and he's on the best horse, and he's even money in your morning line.
Let's go back and cue up the Maidon Sprint from Super Saturday and take a look back. Shay, you see the work that Christoph Sumian does to get him to the outside. And Mike DeCock said to me yesterday, on Wednesday of this week here at Maidon, that he was probably 85% for that race. And he did have to work for it. He's come on. He's fitter for it. And when you have the maiden leading international trainer of the carnival here in Mike DeCock telling you that he is by far the best of the day for him, I think that's a sign. This horse loves this course. They have the perfect draw. Something is going to have to go completely awry for him to not run his big race. Tactically speaking, though, and this is the thing that we saw in the Maidon Sprint, that this isn't something that Shay has actually had much of, is a lot to run at. The pace in these races are normally frenetic, but the Hong Kong horse here, number 8, Amber Sky, 8 to 1 morning line, he knows nothing. All of his wins in Hong Kong have come going down the straight, 1,000 meters, reverse direction no less. That's what he's going to do. He just goes to the front, and it's just catch me if you can.
Right.
What I think it does is tactically it'll set it up more for Shay.
Right. Everything seems to be going in his favor, but this is a horse race. Medician Man, he's had quite a few carnival runs. He's in great form. He's won 2 in a row. That horse may be able to round out the exacta.
Yeah, I've tipped Soul Power second. He's run behind him before. He only beat him on 1 of 5 occasions. That was at Royal Ascot last year. They're going to have to beat Shay. He's the shortest price on the morning line to start the day at even money. He's going to take all the beating.
Another sprint is race number 6 furlongs the distance on the all-weather, the Dubai Golden Shaheen, sponsored by Golf News. $2 million is the purse, 6 furlongs is the distance. And Pat, we have last year's winner, Ronaldo the Wizard. We have the horse that beat him last time in the Mahab Al-Shamal, Rich Tapestry. They are 7 to 2 and 4 to 1 in the morning line, respectively, but some potential price shots here.
Yeah, it's rare that in this race we have very few international shippers. 12 of the 13 horses had a race on Tapeta this season. That has not happened much. So let's go back and take a look at the Mahab Al-Shamal. A couple horses will highlight. The winner is Rich Tapestry. He had a very good inside trip. Ronaldo the Wizard was tracking up on the front end as well. Russian Soul kind of towards the back here, and then well out the back, Belmont Mast and Jamesy. The pace scenario in this race was very slow. Rich Tapestry and Ronaldo the Wizard were up on the front end, but in 5 previous runnings of this race, the 800-meter split here was a half second slower than the next slowest. So this was a really easy run for Ronaldo and Rich Tapestry. Ronaldo needed the run. He had been off since the Dubawi Stakes. And their entire plan, Joe, has been to make the third up effort the big one. And what happened here last year? Ronaldo won by a neck in the Golden Shaheen. 4th up. His third up effort was a 4-length trouncing in the Mahab Al-Shamal. This is a very confident group. Setish Simar says he's even better than he was last year for his third up run. I think Ronaldo the Wizard will repeat, and if you've been following along with the tips, that is now 3 of the 4 races we've discussed are repeat winners for being Soft Falling Rain, Cavalryman, and actually, Soft Falling Rain, Cavalryman, Shay,
right,
and now Ronaldo the Wizard. So of the first 5 races we've discussed, I've got 4 repeat winners from last year.
Things are going to change a little bit as we move forward.
They will.
But Rich Tapestry did beat Ronaldo the Wizard last time. I thought he did it visually impressive fashion. This is a horse who could improve too. Second up off the layoff, which began in December at Shay Tin. In Hong Kong. But if you like Rich Tapestry as a long shot, don't you have to like Sterling City a little bit?
Yeah, and I made Sterling City 20 to 1 on the morning line, and have taken a bit of beating on that from some of the Hong Kong folks. Fortunately, they have their own pools to bet into, and they won't get the 20 to 1 on the tote. Look, the bottom line is you make a price like that for the market you think is going to put the most into it. And maybe he won't be 20 to 1, but that's where I started him. The problem with Sterling City is he isn't one who's done a lot down the straight. He has quality form on turf over 6. I don't know if it's going to translate here to the all-weather. I just don't know. I'm really not that confident. Lucky 9, who's a horse he's been butting heads with. ran third in this race in previous years. I just don't know if it's all that collateral form, but trainer John Moore, to say he was bullish about Sterling City is maybe the understatement of the week. He's incredibly bullish on that horse, and frankly, all of them. So
Right.
I give him a chance, but I just think Ronaldo's a better horse on this surface in this race. For me, it's Ronaldo the Wizard. Behind him, he could be just about anything.
Yeah, there's not many horses that have been raced in America that are competing on this card. One of them is Zebros, who will be making his third start back off the break, third start of the carnival for Seth Benzel. And I got a feeling that this horse is going to run a big race better than maybe he looks on paper. He moved too soon in his first start. Last out he raced on grass. That's not his game. So if you're looking for a decent price as far as long shots go in the gimmicks, maybe Zebros can sneak in there.
Yeah, not for me, Joe, but he's going to go forward, and he could run an improved race, but an improved race, he could be beaten by 2 lengths
Right.
and run 5th in this race. They were really well bunched at the finish last year. I think Zebros adds pace with My Catch, Nawar. They're going to go on with it, stretch the field out. Maybe it does help a horse like Sterling City, but I think it's just offering this race on a platter to Ronaldo the Wizard.
Race number 7, 9 furlongs on grass, $500,000, Dubai, duty-free, sponsored by Dubai Duty Free. The morning line favorite here is a horse that North American punters are familiar with, the Fugue, who's raced in a couple of Breeders' Cups. You've got Dank, who won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf last year, also won the Beverly D at Arlington. You've got the undefeated Vercingetorix, and you've got a fit and ready to go Just Away coming in from Japan. Pat, those are the 4 names I'm looking at.
Yeah. Look, let's start with the horse who's never lost. Okay, let's start with Vercingetorix, 3-year-old champion from South Africa, 2-time winner here at the Carnival. Let's go back to the Jebel Hatta Super Saturday. He sits a very nice trip on the rail. Anaerobio comes off the rail. Both Vercingetorix and Vancouverite, for what it's worth.
Anaerobio came off the rail?
I heard something about
Okay.
it. I've heard something about it, potentially. Vercingetorix kind of slips through and has a very easy trip. He really did have a very easy trip. There were several in that race that had a very easy trip. The setup of that race was slow. Anaerobio backed the pace down quite substantially. They ran much slower than par for that race. So the question to me is, where does the pace sit in this renewal? Because in that last race, and we showed the replay, Tradestorm closes well from the back of the pack, and he had no pace to run into. In this race, we have 2 horses that will go forward. Anaerobio, and I'm thinking he'll go quicker this time, because Tokai Halo, the Japanese horse, is in here. And that horse knows nothing else but to go forward. Sometimes he stays, sometimes he doesn't. We've ran second in the Hong Kong Cup behind Akid Mafid by going forward. There's going to be pace. Tradestorm in this race last year was drawn 14. He's drawn 7. He'll get something to run at. And David Simcock has made it very clear that he was going to need 2 runs this year to come into his best. Tradestorm upsets the Dubai Duty Free. He's also the Amwager value play of the day.
There we go. And that's what we kind of alluded to. Maybe some shorter prices early on, but the price will get bigger as we move along. The Fugue and Dank are 2 horses that are very
talk
familiar.
about them.
Well, they're very familiar, and they're going to get bet.
Yeah, no, they are. They will get bet. I frankly, Joe, can't have them. These are phenomenal fillies with a great record and are very familiar to U.S. racing fans. Of course, this video based in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see them being 100% to win this race. I just don't. The Fugue assured her best over 1,800. Dank, no Lasix. Dank against Open Mail Company, I believe for the first time in her career. And they have long seasons ahead of them in England. How could they possibly be 100%? That's a trend that we're going to see through the next couple races, too.
I would agree. Now, the horses coming in from Japan, from Hong Kong, are fit. Most of them are fit as a fiddle. Just Away is one of those. Just Away is better than ever. Can that form continue on in this race against this competition? I think maybe so. Just Away is going to be my pick.
Yeah, Just Away lashed Gentle Donna 2 back and had a very nice prep run earlier this year. Did have a perfect trip and is probably going to get another one here. The only problem is the 2 most recent wins on Just Away's form, you have to go a long way back to find the last time he won. So maybe he's really fresh. Right. Maybe the competition's been a little different. This is a tougher bunch internationally. He's never really been an international company, so to speak. I give him a shout. But for me, this is a tactics play, and it's Tradestorm.
All right, $500,000 and 1.5 miles the distance in the Dubai Shima Classic, presented by Long Jeans, and this is To me, one of the most intriguing races on the card from a price play perspective. 3-1 morning line favorite, Breeders' Cup Turf Champion, Magician. 12 horse at odds of 4-1, Gentile Donna coming in from Japan. We've got some other horses in here with a legitimate shot. A horse Americans are familiar with, Twilight Eclipse, perhaps in the best form of his career at the age of 5. Pat, what are you looking at?
I was trying to figure out the pace scenario here, because Gentle Donna runs forward but doesn't really lead, and she ran forward last year but was hung out wide, and when she drew 15, I thought the same thing. Sears Deseg drawn 15, he'll probably go forward, but none of these horses really are going to lead all that often, and I was looking and trying to figure it out, and then I realized that Seamus Heffernan is booked to ride Festive Cheer, who's making only his 4th lifetime start in this race. And I've added 1 and 1, and it equals fast. Festive Cheer, to me, is a rabbit in this race. He is going to go and burn on the front end and try and set a quick gallop, I think. So, in doing so, I think it's going to potentially help some of the closers in this race. So I think we need to do some discounting first. And at least in my estimation, go back to the City of Gold and just take a look at this for a second. Stretch run of the City of Gold. Excellent result. Meandra, Mount Athos, a bunched grouping at the finish. I just can't have any of these horses to come back and win. It's always been a muddling bunch. The City of Gold winner has never come back to win this race, ever. And even though Cavalryman was 3rd in it last year, came back to win the Gold Cup. Meandra is a horse who has a better draw now. And one of our track of stats of the day, Meandra, last time out, covered 14 meters more than the first 3 finishers. He's a placing chance to me, Joe. Meandra. I'm going back to tactics again here in this particular race. I know you like a local horse. Can't have the local horses here for me. I'm going with Denim and Ruby, the Japanese 4-year-old filly who almost won at the Japan Cup. She'll settle way out the back. The Coolmore boys think that Festive Cheer will help set it up for Magician. I think it helps the Japanese filly even more, Denim and Ruby, to pull a bit of an upset.
I could see your point on the local horses. I think Excellent Result is progressive. The horses won 2 in a row. I think the horse is continuing to get better. The price is right for me on Excellent Result. Mars is kind of a funny horse. They put the hood on last time. It didn't help. He got off to a sluggish start. He finished a lot better than it looks on paper. I think this is a horse that could make a big move forward in this race as well at odds of 20-1. And I think Twilight Eclipse, talking about horses that are going to go forward, they say they're going. They're going to try to get early position in this race, and he's as good as he's ever been. I know he's not great when it comes to American turf horses, but I think he'll run a big race.
I think that makes Denim and Ruby even more dangerous. And frankly, it makes Magician more dangerous. I just don't think that Magician is going to be 100% similar fashion. Even though St. Nicholas Abbey won it last year, Magician got a perfect setup in the Breeders' Cup Turf. Ryan Moore learned his lesson from Giovanni Boldini in the Juvenile Turf. He realized the way the course was playing and how they had to respect pace, so to speak. I'm going with Denim and Ruby, who is trained by Katsuhiko Sumi, who has trained a Dubai World Cup winner in Victoire Pizan.
And speaking of which, next up, the Dubai World Cup. The granddaddy of them all, $10 million, a mile and a quarter on the all-weather surface. And we've got a very evenly matched field here. And I know, Pat, you were struggling over the course of the week with who the morning line favorite might be. You were maybe leaning towards Ron the Greek, but when he drew post position number 16, very difficult to do. He's at 5-1 in the morning line. Horse that's taking a lot of action overseas with the bookmakers is Ruler of the World. He's installed as your lukewarm 9-2 morning line favorite here, but many chances abound.
Yeah, it is a World Cup this year. There is no argument about that. A very diverse group. And what you have are some local Tapeta specialists, some international turf horses, a Saudi-based former American dirt horse who's given it a shot. I couldn't make Ron the Greek the favorite after he drew 16. Does he have a chance? Everything has to go 100% correct. But it's horse racing, and I don't think that's going to happen. Let's start with the local horses, because the Hong Kong contingent has to get discussed. Let's start locally first. Go back to the Maktoum Challenge. Prince Bishop on the rail, Senshawaz and Surfer drawn 13 and 14. A host of others that were in this race, African Story, Cata Mountain. They were a bunched group at the finish last time through the stretch run. Prince Bishop gets the split. He saved all the ground. Very impressive performance. He also pulls up pretty quite short out of this race. It leads us into our third track of stat of the day. Senshawaz covers 22 meters. more than Prince Bishop. Senshawis gets what we would define through track as an inverse or a reverse trip. It's the opposite trip of what he had last time. Drawn wide, covered all the extra ground. Now he's drawn inside. He'll go close. I think he's a very dangerous horse in this race. Now, internationally, the Hong Kong Raiders. You've been following them all week. They're very keen on their chances.
They look good on the track, too.
Akid Mafid, military attack. They pick and choose sometimes when they win. They're not always 100% consistent. Sometimes they truly get a prep run. But they are the talking horses here of the week. The Irish horses don't get out until a day before, so no one really talks all that much about them. If I had to pick one, I pick military attack over Akid Mafid. I think he's a better horse.
Yeah, I think both of them have a big shot. And I think people are going to look at the fact that Akid Mafid got beat last out, finished 5th, was the even money favorite.
Yeah.
People bet off what a horse does in their last race quite often. The races before that were very good. I think he's going to bounce back. He has looked incredible all week during his track work. And, I'm looking for a price here. I can't go with someone, that's going to get bet at less than 10 to 1. And I think you're going to see Akid Mafid every bit of the 10 to 1 that you put him in at.
To our American players, too, you have a ruler of the world, Aidan O'Brien, an Investec Derby winner, a Champion Stakes third, and a very good effort, and people recognize the name, the connections, etc. Of course, half of this horse has been sold to Qataris, Al Shakab Racing. Good luck. Here's the thing. This horse is coming off a long layoff. Only twice in the 18-year history of this race has a horse run and won the World Cup, not having had a start the same year that they came to the World Cup. You need to be fresh, especially on this Tapeta. Fit over fresh in this race. Animal Kingdom came off a 49-day break to win it here.
Yeah.
The other 3 winners were all starting within 30 days of the race. This isn't the world's best overall form race. There have been some wildly talented horses who haven't run their race here.
Yeah.
So, ruler of the world to me, I'm completely ignoring him. I'm throwing him out. The only way he's in my plays is when I hit the all button for 3rd or 4th. That's when he slips in for me. Pace. Hako Taramai, Japanese dirt runner, and Mukadram, I think, will go forward, and we'll see Senshawis tactically ridden up towards the front as well. Surfer might get a handy position. He is an outside placing chance. I don't really give Catamount or even Red Cadeau now drawn 14. He's going to have to work out a trip. Vancouverite, can't really have him. Belshazzar, not really a fan of his. He sucked along in the Japan Cup dirt when Hako Taramai got a shockingly awful ride. Side Glance, he's looked good here this week. Ran 4th in this race last year. I give him a shot to get in the frame. And the final horse to mention here, African Story, bashed his head against the stalls at the start of the Maktoum Challenge. I think he could improve. At the end of the day, who is your World Cup pick?
Well, I'm going to go with my first instinct, which is the confidence of the people coming in from Hong Kong and how he's looked on the track all week. Akid Mafid for me. But like I said, there are a lot of different ways you can go, and it should be, no matter what happens, a fascinating edition.
I go with Senshawis in the Dubai World Cup, but of course, all analysis at DubaiRaceNight.com, AmwesEntertainment.com, where you can review kind of the full selections as well.
And don't forget, you can play another Derby Wars free contest. We congratulate Super Saturday contest winner Joseph Palmasani of New York. There'll be other Dubai contests at DerbyWars.com as well, and go to HorseRacingNation.com if you are a horse racing fan in general. Lots of information there. Pat, we're going to put your picks up on the screen right here. Quick recap of your selections, and we're going to go to the Bankroll Challenge, which personally I'm looking very forward to.
So the first 5 races of the day, short prices for me. Soft Falling Rain, Cavalryman, Giovanni Boldini, and Shay Shay. Ronaldo the Wizard becomes one of 4 horses to repeat. It gets a little pricier after that for my taste. Trade Storm, Denim and Ruby in the duty free. Senshawis off of that inverse trip with the data. Senshawis for me to win the World Cup.
Pat and I agree with our selections in 3 of the first 4 races. Soft Falling Rain, Cavalryman, and Shay Shay. Long John over Giovanni Baldini for me in the UAE Derby. Rich Tapestry to make it 2 in a row here, just away, I think gives Japan a victory. Excellent result. I think he's getting better and better and better, and he's going to be a big price. And Akid Mafid for me from Hong Kong to win the Dubai World Cup in what may be a 13-horse photo finish.
Let's get the unpleasantries out of the way. I will admit, Joe, much better than me in the Bankroll Challenge this year. The numbers from our man behind the scenes, Danny Christofek, up on the screen. You see what he's done. Congrats to you, Joe. You've beaten me in the Bankroll Challenge through Super Saturday. I tip my hat.
All the respect to you, Pat. Obviously, you're going for it more. You're going for bigger prices. I'm betting a lot more conservatively.
And you could have had a lot more if you took
just getting my feet
yeah.
wet. But it proves that somebody that doesn't follow international racing can jump right into the carnival, follow along, look at the races, look at the strength of field, watch the races visually, and still do well on the wager.
So what you're saying is I blew it on purpose. Good for you, man.
Well, it comes down to Dubai World Cup night, Pat, and let's get a quick look at what your selections. As far as putting money forward and the wagering strategies.
I get bold early, a $36 pick 3. Needless to say, I had $36 left over. Cavalryman, Giovanni Boldini, Shea, straight across there. And then we'll do a pick 3, a pricier play, races 7, 8, and 9 to round out the day. The numbers are up there. I'm kind of keying on Trade Storm, but I am using Vercingetorix. I am using Just Away. And then we go 3 deep. Throw me Andre in there, but then with the 2 Japanese horses in the City of Gold, and then 5 deep in the World Cup with Senchavez as the horse I like. Trifecta in the Shima Classic, Denim and Ruby on top with a couple underneath with all for 3rd, and then 2 trifectas to round it out. King Senchavez either 1st or 2nd with a couple others.
And true to form, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to take my 4 best price shots and bet 10 to win, 40 to place on all of them. Rich Tapestry, race 6, Just Away, race 7, Excellent Result, race 8, and Akid Mafid in the Dubai World Cup, race number 9 to round things out. Don't forget you can follow Pat on Twitter at DubaiRaceNight.com and track his racing. You can follow me at Joey Decay Racing. And additional parade ring analysis that should be very useful coming in as well from Thorough Media on Twitter, another one to follow.
Should have that. I'll be tweeting as much as the signals around may not allow to happen. So catch up on that. Reach out, ask us some questions. We'll be happy to help as much as we can, but it's a busy day. It's a fun day. It's great. Glad you've been able to come along. Thanks to AmWager, AmWest for sponsoring the videos throughout the course of the season. It's been phenomenal.
The chat, 8:45 Eastern Time is when it will open. First post is 9:10.
For Thoroughbreds, yes.
For Thoroughbreds for the Dubai World Cup night. I hope all of you have enjoyed all the videos Pat and I have provided during the course of the carnival. We thank AmWager, we thank AmWest, and we thank everyone who's here and has been so hospitable. And we're looking forward to a fantastic edition of the Dubai World Cup, and it's been a great carnival through and through.
Absolutely. Good luck.
On behalf of Pat Cummings, I'm Joe Christopek. As Pat said, good luck.